If you're in the market for a new commuter car that's affordable, comfortable, reliable, and fuel efficient, yet also sporty, you really can't do much better than a Honda Civic. Since the early 1970s, the Civic has always been an easy choice for a lot of American families, especially if you guys really favored driving dynamics with that typical Honda reputation for reliability. Now, roughly 5 years ago, Honda introduced an all-new 11th generation Civic, giving it a much more conservative design on the outside, while also introducing more premium features on the inside with their latest technology interface. Now, last year, Honda introduced a fully revised Civic, also returning for the first time in a long time, the hybrid electrified powertrain. So as you can see this week, we are testing out the latest 2026 Honda Civic Hatchback Hybrid in the fully loaded sport touring trim. And the big question I want to answer, with so much new competition coming into the compact mainstream sedan space, has Honda done enough to keep the Civic still one of the best options in the segment? Stay tuned to find out. Now, before we start talking about the exterior styling of the latest 2026 Civic, I thought I'd pop the hood and remind you guys what's powering this vehicle. Now, the base engine in the Civic continues to be a naturally aspirated, non-hybrid 2-liter four-cylinder engine. This, however, is the hybrid powertrain, which has that 2-liter that runs on the Atkinson cycle for better efficiency, but of course it is augmented by 2 powerful electric motors. And as you guys heard, the engine shut off even though the vehicle is on, and that's because this is a full hybrid. It has a 1.1 kilowatt hour battery pack that the electric motors draw its power from. This vehicle is interesting in the way that it functions, because even though there is that big gas engine, it's primarily getting power to the front wheels from that powerful electric traction motor at the front, which delivers 181 horsepower on its own and 232 foot-pounds of torque. The gas engine delivers around 141 horsepower. Combined total, however, Honda says is just 200 horsepower, and the torque figure is 232. It all goes out through the front wheels through a one-speed, it's a single-speed reduction gear transmission. Now, this Civic Hybrid lacks the Sport Plus shift logic that we just drove in the new Honda Prelude. Honda has confirmed that it is coming for the Civic sometime probably later this year. Fuel economy is impressive at 50 in the city, 45 on the highway, around 48 combined. That's on regular gas. This has a 10.6 gallon fuel tank. You're looking at just over 550 miles of range on a full tank, theoretically. Now, 0 to 60 times are pretty impressive. The last one we tested did it in around 6.4 seconds. Top speed for this model should be right around 120-ish miles an hour. And as the Civic Hybrid sits, it weighs in at around 33, just under 3,300 pounds. It's roughly 300 pounds heavier versus the non-hybrid Civic, but it also gives you roughly 50 more horsepower and like 100 more foot-pounds of torque. This makes this vehicle more powerful and more torquey than the performance-oriented Honda Civic Si. Closing the hood though, let's go ahead and briefly talk about the exterior styling as I stand out here in the 16-degree frigid cold temperatures. We're literally expecting a snowstorm in the next like 10 hours or so, or maybe 6 hours, but this Boost Blue exterior color is an extra $455. It used to be more of a Type R color, but it certainly looks good with this vehicle. You can see the hood has some nice creases on there. The Civic has standard full LED headlights, which are reflector style. You have LED low and high beams, LED turn signals, no LED fog lights, however. There are some functional openings there, some functional openings here. You can actually see right through the grille right there to see the radiator, which is all, again, exposed openings for functional cooling. There's also integrated front parking sensors, which is nice. No 360 camera, so there's no front camera on this car. But in general, I think the Civic styling is aging well. It's just a little bit boring. It's a little on the conservative side, but I think this is typical Honda. It'll age well as it continues to get older for this generation. Now, moving around the side profile, you can see the hatchback model is actually the shorter Civic at 179 inches long with a 107.7 inch wheelbase. The sedan is roughly 5 inches longer than this car. So keep that in mind. This car is also roughly around the same size as most of its rivals. It has a pretty nice silhouette. I also really like the updated wheels. Honda, remember, gave this car a big refresh last year, which includes these 18-inch alloy wheels with a 6-spoke design. It's got like a machine look, a two-tone look, riding on a relatively fat 235 by 40 R18 Goodyear Assurance all-season tire. Brake rotors are 12 inches in the front, 11 inches at the back. It's got an all-independent suspension, but no adaptive dampers. You're not going to find that on a regular Civic. You can see the mirrors are not power folding. They're black painted, integrated turn signals, no cameras, no 360 camera, obviously, and then you get just a standard sunroof when you guys go for the hybrid hatch, which is a nice touch, but no pano roof. You don't typically find that in this space. You can see Backing away, the Civic hatch doesn't always look like a hatch, but I think the profile of this car is definitely nice. I haven't seen or driven the new K4 hatchback. Rob did it, however, around 2 weeks ago. So I'm hoping I can get a K4 hatch for a week at some point so I can show you guys my impressions on it. This Civic definitely doesn't look as sporty though as the new K4 hatch, so keep that in mind. You can see there is a rear wiper back here, along with a little shark fin antenna there for the or actually there's no XM radio, that's just for the radio or the satellite navigation. You can see the taillights are a combination of LED and incandescent. It's not a full-length LED light bar, but you can see there's some black badging back here. In fact, I don't remember the 2025 model having a black sport touring badge there or a black hybrid badge. You can see the rear bumper looks a little bit more aggressive, no exposed or visible exhaust tips or anything like that. You're not gonna find that on this car. And then if you open up the trunk, you can see not a power hatch, you don't typically find that as well, but you have roughly 24 cubic feet of storage space, which is around 10 more cubic feet than you're gonna get in the sedan. So this is the reason why you choose the hatch. If you look underneath the floor here, you can see there is a little bit of underfloor storage, but there's no spare on this car. You just get a fix-a-flat kit with an air compressor. And if you want to fold down those seats, Honda makes it pretty easy to do so. You just basically push this forward. Honda doesn't quote what the total cargo capacity is, but I would estimate it's probably around 45 cubic feet of space. I think the old Civic, previous generation, was like 46. It should be pretty much the same. So again, if you want the most practicality in your Civic, you're going to want to go for the hatchback model. Now moving inside the interior of the latest 2026 Civic, just like on the outside, Honda made no changes to the exterior, which is kind of the same thing for the interior, which is not necessarily a bad thing. You can see here's the key fob for the vehicle. This is the standard intelligent access key fob, which is Honda's latest design. It's a nice size key. It also feels pretty high quality, with your typical buttons here for lock, unlock, remote start, which is nice. You can also pop open the trunk, but it's not a power liftgate, and then you have a panic feature. As you approach the door handle, you can see there's a little raised area here where you can touch that. That'll lock the door for you. And then when you want to unlock the door, or let me try that again, lock the door for you. The door wasn't shut all the way. When you want to unlock the door, touch the back of the door handle and that unlocks the door for you. This car does offer a walk-away auto lock feature, which is a nice touch. Now looking at the interior, you can see the Boost Blue exterior. It looks really nice with the gray leather interior that you get with the Sport Touring trim. These seats also adjust in 8 different ways for the driver, 4 ways for the passenger. Sadly, there's no lumbar adjustment and there's also no memory seats. The seats are heated. If you go for a hybrid hatchback, it comes standard with heated seats, even though it has cloth, but it would be nice if Honda added lumbar or added the availability of cooled seats. You can start to get that in some of its competitors. Door panel materials, you can see, are soft touch injection molded plastic, which feels really nice. Leather here and leather here. There's like a shiny piano black plastic here, which I don't like. The window controls are one touch up down for the front. The rears are not one touch at all. Then there's kind of like this fake carbon fiber look trim here, which has like some blends of like a brushed aluminum, silver painted plastic door handle. And then down here, it's all hard touch plastic with additional door storage. Now getting inside, as you can see, this has a nice low step-in height because it's a traditional car. As I shut the door has a really solid sounding thunk, which adds to that impression of quality. Now, once you're inside, as you can see, you heard the Honda chime. This model here comes with a 10.3-inch digital driver's display. And then when you want to start it up, the stop button is here, kind of blocked by the turn signal or the wiper stalk. But as you can see, most of the times the car will actually turn on and it won't turn the engine on. Right now it's, as you can see, 16 degrees outside, so the car's turning the engine on to warm up the car, or warm up the cabin and warm up the engine, obviously. Most of the times it'll just say ready, or it'll say EV in the instrument panel, and then this trim comes with the larger 9-inch touchscreen. Now, the baser versions of this car will have a 7-inch display that lacks Google. This model, as you can see, however, has the Google built in. It has some traditional hard buttons here and a volume knob, which is nice. It has Google Maps built in as well, which the map quality and the resolution is okay. It's really quick and snappy when you're in the Google Maps, which is really nice. That's always obviously a plus. It's definitely a little bit slow, at least initially, when I first turned the car on. I noticed that this car does have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as well, which is a feature that obviously you're gonna really find important for most people. You also have access to the Google Play Store, which is nice. It has Google built in, which is great. You can also go to like a power flow here to show how much range you have, how much charge you have in the battery, your fuel efficiency. So this is pretty much unchanged. It's the same system that you find in vehicles like the Integra, for example, the new Honda Prelude, but just know you have to go for the Sport Touring trim to get the 9-inch display with the Google built in, so keep that in mind. There is a backup camera as well, which offers trajectory, distance markers, The quality and resolution is not great. It offers different angles of the backup camera view, but no 360 camera. That's not available. You do have 3-level heated seats here, which is nice. You have these nice, satisfying rotary knobs that have that click sound when you adjust the temperature. It's got dual zone. That's standard on all the hybrid Civics. And then the steering wheel lacks a heated wheel. When it's 16 degrees outside, really I'm missing the heated wheel function. You do have a manual tilt telescoping arrangement where you can get a pretty comfortable driving position. These paddles control the 4 different levels of regen braking. The horn sounds pretty puny and weak, so it kind of goes, I guess, with the small meep character of this car. No head-up display, obviously it's a Civic, but you do get a 12-speaker Bose premium sound system, which actually sounds pretty decent if you guys are an audiophile. The dashboard has a soft touch injection molded plastic, which feels really nice. I love the way these air vents look with this kind of continuous vent with the hexagonal mesh grille in front of the vents. Also, it has that same satisfying click sound. I don't love the piano black plastic here, and this is where, again, a cooled seat function would be nice, but mostly I would love to see a heated steering wheel function, which would be great. Wireless phone charging pad down here, along with your 2 USB-Cs, a 12-volt power outlet, additional storage, and then I appreciate how Honda resisted the urge to put piano black plastic here, and then you have a traditional shifter here for the single-speed reduction gear transmission. Your drive mode selector is here. You can see Honda offers a choice of 4 different drive modes. Most of the times you'll have it in normal or eco. There's also an individual setting, but the individual setting doesn't allow you to customize the dampers. So you can really just customize the powertrain, steering, the engine, sound, and the gauge display. So keep in mind, this doesn't have the adaptive dampers you'd find on like a Type R or the new Honda Prelude. Pretty decent sized cup holders, nice padded center console, and then you can see, open that up. It's a pretty decent storage area. No power outlets in here, they're all located here. But this is kind of a good position to kind of get a nice, rest for your arm when you're sitting in the driver's seat. The seats are also very comfortable and supportive, not the same aggressive bolstering like you'd find in, some of their sportier models, but this is great for longer road trips. The heat function does work well. It is a power 4-way on the passenger side, but again, no adjustable lumbar support. The glove box, you can see, is damped but not lined with felt. It's a bin style. It's not the biggest glove box, but it certainly is very usable. So overall, this interior area here, as you can see, good visibility, good build quality as well. And I also forgot to mention above, you still have a standard sunroof, which tilts and opens up. You have LED map lighting, but no ambient lighting. So as typical Honda, I didn't hear any squeaks and rattles in this interior, and it certainly has a more premium feel. It just feels a little dated when it comes to some upscale touches for the price. It's got a smaller screen compared to some of its rivals, but in general, it's kind of easy to get in this car, and it's like very familiar when you first hop in if you guys are used to Hondas. But let's go ahead and hop into the back seat area of this car, because the back seat of the Civic is actually relatively usable. If I can have the door open. But as you can see, when you open up the door, it actually opens up fairly large, which is good. This back seat, as you can see, still has perforations, but it's not heated or anything like that. You can fold this seat down, obviously, to expand the cargo. It has a slightly raised floor, but it certainly is very, very practical. The door panel materials, you can see, are hard touch plastic, so it's downgraded from the front. Still have padded leather here, though, with the piano black plastic, additional door storage. But once you get back here, you can see you have around 37 inches of legroom back here, which 37 inches is actually among the best you're going to find in the segment. It's pretty comparable to one of its rivals, like the Kia K4, for example. There's a hump here for the center, which I don't know why, because there's no all-wheel drive option. There's no vents, no USB-C charging ports, nothing back here. It's pretty bare. You even got just one storage cubby. The headrests are not adjustable. The sunroof does take up a little bit of space, but in terms of headroom, you can see my head actually gets pretty close to the ceiling. So that's the one thing I'm noticing about the hatch. I can't remember if the sedan has a little bit more. The sedan is the longer vehicle. At least this trim gives you an armrest that folds down with 2 cup holders. I don't think you get this on the base version of the Civic hatch. But in general, as a family car, the Civic hatch hybrid certainly can suffice in a pinch, but just know that it's lacking a lot of features, especially at the price that Honda is charging for this top model. So here we are back behind the wheel of the latest Honda Civic hybrid hatchback. The timing is actually perfect because I just got back from driving the new 6th generation Honda Prelude, which has this powertrain. And when I last drove this vehicle, I was pretty impressed with the overall performance. Remember, 200 horsepower, 232 pound-feet of torque. It actually delivers a lot more power than its numbers would suggest. This car is one of the quickest accelerating vehicles you're going to find, and it's also one of the most fuel efficient, easily getting up to 48 mpg combined according to the EPA. Sadly, however, Honda Civic hybrids only remain front-wheel drive. Honda does not offer all-wheel drive, which we are literally on the tail end or we're literally about to receive like almost 2 feet of snow starting tomorrow. So this is kind of my only opportunity to drive this car before they pick it up, before the snowstorm hits. Although if it was all-wheel drive, it would have been nice to be able to see how the traction held up. But regardless, it's got a unique direct drive transmission. Honda has not added the Sport Plus shifting to this model, but they did say that it's coming to the Civic possibly later this year, probably as a 2027 model year. But the last one I 0 to 60 tested did it in like 6.37 seconds. So let's go ahead and see what we can get in this model here. Now, to get the best time, you basically put it into sport mode, and you have to brake torque it, because when you brake torque it, it tells the computer to stop with the fake shifting, which slows the car down. So we'll go ahead and we'll do that. And this thing, when you really give it the hammer, it is fast. It feels quick. 0 to 60 there in 6.6 seconds. 6.6 seconds is actually about the same time that I got in the Honda Prelude that I tested literally earlier this week. And it's a quick time. Now, it's not quite as quick as the last one that I tested last year, which did it in 6.4. Granted, it's literally 16 degrees outside, so it's cold. This car also only has just under 400 miles on it. It's technically not fully broken in, but still 6.6 seconds when you brake torque it is going to be really quick for a lot of people. This is way faster than most of its competitors, although it's about the same time that I got in a Kia K4 GT Line Turbo, so kind of keep that in mind. Let's try another run here. This time I'm not going to brake torque it, and it should do the fake shifting. Feels noticeably slower off the line when you don't brake torque it, but it definitely feels very traditional. I like the sound. 7.94 seconds there. So just like in the Honda Prelude, when you allow it to do the shifting, it slows the 0 to 60 time down by a little over a second, which, you know, honestly, you're probably not going to notice that in real world driving. And it also produces, again, more of a normalized driving characteristic of this car. It feels like it has a traditional stepped automatic. It has a 2-liter 4-cylinder direct injection engine, double overhead cams, and that engine technically never really powers the wheels directly, but it can in certain instances when you're at highway speeds. Most of the times what you're feeling is the 181 horsepower from the electric motor. But this car really does a convincing job of simulating gears and feeling like a conventional car. And that's, I think, where the Civic Hybrid excels compared to rivals like the Toyota Prius, for example. Toyota's hybrid system is far different. It actually has an eCVT for the Toyota. Honda's is a direct drive transmission that simulates an eCVT. Although when you put your foot down like this, it feels like a traditional stepped automatic. It even has paddles, but the paddles don't control the gears. Not like in the Prelude, which has its Sport Plus shifting. This just controls your 4 different levels of regen braking. And when you actually have it in level 4, it comes pretty close to being as strong with the regen braking as like a lot of electric vehicles. But in general, the Civic still is one of the best handling vehicles out there. I mean, there's a reason why Honda used this platform to give us the Type R, to give the Prelude. The steering in the vehicle feels really quick and direct. It actually transmits some feedback. The suspension feels nice and tight. It feels nimble, it feels playful, it feels like a driver's car, and that's what I love about the Civic. Yet at the same time, it preserves the ride quality that you're looking for. You don't have to deal with a crappy ride, even though this car has button-down handling dynamics, which is a great thing. Overall, this vehicle excels so well at just being an everyday commuter car. It's really easy to drive, it's really easy to live with. It's super smooth, and it just feels really nice. I always enjoy driving these Civics, and the hybrid powertrain essentially makes it even better. Let's try one more run here on a level surface. I'm going to let the shifting happen. .13 seconds there, so that's actually noticeably quicker. Although that was on more level ground, and that was with the shifting. So in reality, you're going to get a low 7-second 0 to 60 time all day long in this car. And that's going to be plenty fast for a lot of people. That's going to really show that you don't need to buy a super powerful car to get something that's fast, because this car can honestly keep pace with some hot hatches, which is impressive. And when you're just driving it normally, it's so smooth. I mean, it has those simulated shifts. The engine also doesn't transmit that much in terms of vibration, harshness. It's so much more smooth versus Toyota's 4-cylinder hybrid powertrain. So I really appreciate that about Hondas. And when you combine that with the comfortable ride quality, the agile handling, the comfortable seats as well. These seats, they're not obviously as aggressive as what you'd find in like a Type R or even a Civic Si, but the leather feels really nice. It's plush. It feels like I could take this car on a long road trip for hours and just be comfortable doing so. It also comes with most of the latest driver assistance tech you could want in this vehicle. Honda's adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist. It all works really well. Visibility also is so good. You can see out of the front, the side, and the rear easily. There's no digital camera rearview mirror, nor is there a 360 camera, but you don't really need it when you drive a car like this. It's just easy to drive. It's easy to park. It's quiet as well. That's the thing about Hondas. They used to not be quiet, but the Civic actually has done a good job. Honda's done a better job here at improving the refinement of this car. In fact, I like this car more than the last Acura Integra that I drove, which was the refreshed model. That's not a good thing. The Civic feels quieter because it's a hybrid, and it also feels like it has better sound deadening versus the Acura, which again is not a good thing. This is a Honda. It should not feel nicer than an Acura, so I don't really know what's going on there. I'm gonna try one more run here. This time we're gonna brake torque it, see if we can get a slightly faster time. It has that feel of a CVT. All right, wow. 6.16 seconds there, 6.2. So maybe my first one was just kind of a fluke, but it's now, it says it's going slightly downhill. It's like a 2% downhill gradient, so it's not that downhill, but still, like when you brake torque it, just know it shaves about a second off the 0 to 60 time, which honestly is pretty impressive. I'll be curious to see what the Prelude is able to do when I get one back home for a week, but in general here, this is such a good everyday car, so I'm pretty happy with this hybrid powertrain still. Now, in terms of fuel efficiency, this car is rated at 50 in the city and 45 on the highway, about 48 combined. Now, the car is not broken in, and it's also been frigidly cold here. So in my week's worth of testing, I've been averaging just under 40 miles to the gallon, which again, I think I had one last year and it was doing closer to 45. So it's affected a little bit. If you drive it a little bit more conservatively, you're gonna notice it's gonna get even better gas mileage. Theoretically, you could do over 500 miles of range on a full tank. This car was showing right around 450, which is still excellent. Remember, it has a pretty small 10.6 gallon fuel tank. So it's really cheap to drive, cheap to fill up, yet it's not slow, it's not noisy, it rides really well. So the Civic is still one of my favorite vehicles. What holds it back though from being, the all-out best vehicle, and that's where the Prius comes into play, is the infotainment system is small, it's dated, and it doesn't offer all-wheel drive. The lack of all-wheel drive is a problem, especially if you live in a snowy area like me, for example, and it may make you head to your local Toyota dealership. But just know the Civic feels a little bit more mature. It feels more sophisticated. It feels more sporty than the current Prius. And the Prius in general already feels pretty sporty, the new one, but I'm still very much liking this car a lot, so I'll be curious to see what Honda does for the next generation. They just need to add all-wheel drive for the next generation Civic. Now, with just over 238,000 units sold last year in America, the Honda Civic remained one of the top-selling vehicles in the compact family sedan space. In fact, in Honda's lineup, the Civic was number 2, outsold, of course, by the CR-V, which Honda did well over 400,000 units. So clearly, even though everybody tends to buy SUVs, the Civic had a pretty successful sales year at Honda, and the only vehicle in its class that outsold it, obviously, is the Toyota Corolla. But this is still, again, a pretty big win for Honda, and after spending a full week with the latest 2026 model year, just like the one that I tested last year, the Civic remains one of my top options out there. As long as you guys are okay with the fact that it doesn't offer all-wheel drive, the hatchback body style is definitely a no-brainer for me. It's around $1,200 extra to go for the hybrid or the hatchback body style over the comparable sedan in the hybrid form. As you guys saw, performance also remains very impressive. We got a 0 to 60 time in the low 6-second range, which makes this vehicle one of the quickest accelerating cars in the class. It almost makes it as fast, honestly, as a Volkswagen GTI, a vehicle that's kind of a step above. this car, and it also makes the Civic Hybrid faster versus a Honda Civic Si, which is kind of embarrassing for Honda's Si division. They really need to do something with the Si and make it faster than this car. There's really no reason why a hybrid Civic should be faster than a performance-oriented Civic Si. As you guys also saw, the handling dynamics of this car are also still very sporty, yet also comfortable. The seats are really easy to sit in for long hours if you guys plan on taking this vehicle on long road trips. The back seat is also usable. I'm still not quite in love with Honda's tech interface. The screen's definitely looking small. And even though this model here has the Google built in, there are times where it was a little slow and laggy to connect to my phone, and also it was slow to boot up. But once it was up and running, it was actually a very quick system that was also easy to use. Fuel efficiency is also pretty good. Actually, not pretty good, it's very good, although it was very cold that when I was testing this vehicle, and this car is not quite fully broken in, but you should be able to easily do mid 40s to even over 50 mpg if you guys drive it more conservatively and you actually let the vehicle break in properly. In general, though, the Civic remains a safe bet, but it's also a very fun bet because, in this class of vehicle, there's competitors like the new Kia K4 GT, Hatchback, that's the newest competitor. I haven't had a chance to drive one yet, but I should have one for a week to test at some point later this year. There's also the Corolla Hatchback, the Mazda 3 Hatchback. There are so many different options out there, and if you guys really want all-wheel drive, there's the Subaru Impreza, which the Subaru doesn't sadly offer a hybrid option. You can get that although on the Crosstrek. But the Civic also remains a strong value in the class, which is probably why it continues to sell well. You can get into a base Civic sedan in the LX trim for under $25,000. The hatch, however, will cost you just under $30,000. So it's a pretty big price jump to go to the hatch. The hybrid powertrain's like an extra $2,500-ish more versus the base Sport with the non-hybrid powertrain. However, if you guys want the touring trim that I'm showing you here, the touring grade is going to cost you around $35,000, just over 35 grand with the Boost Blue upcharge and the destination charge. Now that price tag makes it, again, pretty expensive for a Civic, but at the same time, it's right along the same price as a lot of its rivals, although the new Kia K4 Hatchback GT Line Turbo technically is a little bit less expensive, although the Kia is going to get significantly worse gas mileage. Although I haven't had a chance to 0 to 60 test that vehicle, it should be a little bit slower versus this car in general. Really, the powertrain in the Civic Hybrid is probably among my favorite. It's just kind of let down by a dated infotainment system, a lack of all-wheel drive, and a lack of some upscale features that I think the car should have at its price point. But I'll be curious to see how this car drives when Honda adds their Sport Plus shift technology. And of course, the company is probably going to introduce a next generation model, but probably not until like the 2028 model year, because again, this car first came out in 2022. But in general, if you're looking for a vehicle like this, the Civic should make it still to the very top of your list. Just make sure you don't necessarily need all the latest tech gadgets, and you also don't need all-wheel drive traction. But with all that said, hope you guys have enjoyed my full detailed overview on the latest 2026 Honda Civic hybrid hatch. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.